Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the December 16th meeting of the Yakima School Board. I know how exciting the final week before Christmas break can be for our students, and I want you to know that it is the same for the school board ourselves. So we're glad that you're here. Welcome. At the beginning of the meeting, I want to let everyone know that we do offer Spanish interpretation services from Jorge with Language Connection. If you need translation assistance in person, please check with Jorge for a device, and I would ask Jorge, please translate this information for us.
Jorge Villaseñor, si alguien necesita la ayuda de un intérprete, tenemos los radios y estoy disponible para hacerlo. Gracias.
Thank you so much. If you wish to make public comment this evening, there are two options available for you. The first option is for commenting on agenda items only, and the second option, which comes later in the meeting, is for all other topics. In order to speak tonight, you'll need to sign two forms. The sign-in form and the guidelines form both are located in the back. We also do provide live streaming for our meetings. Links can be found on our webpage under the Board of Directors tab or by going directly to our board meetings site through Board Docs. Barb, would you please take the roll?
Director Shelton?
Here.
Director Walker?
Here.
Director Rice?
Here.
President Beckett?
Here.
And Director Navarro Jr. is excused.
Thank you, Barb. Would you please rise if able and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our December character word of the month is altruistic, demonstrating a selfless concern for the well-being of others.
Today, the schools of the Yakima School District rest on the ancestral lands of the 14 confederated tribes and bands of the Yakima Nation.
Hoy las escuelas del Distrito Escolar de Yakima descansan en las tierras ancestrales de las 14 tribus y bandas confederadas de la nación Yakima.
The people of the Yakima Nation inhabited more than 12 million acres.
La gente de la nación Yakima habitó más de 10 billones de acres.
Across Adams, Benton, Chelan, Douglas, Franklin, Grant, Kittitas, Klickitat, and Yakima counties.
En los condados de Adams, Benton, Chelan, Douglas, Grant, Franklin, Kittitas, Klickitat, y Yakima.
Today we honor those native peoples who are tied to the land through history, legends, and culture.
Hoy honramos a estos pueblos originales que están vinculados en la tierra a través de historias, leyendas y culturas. We acknowledge the descendants who live in the world today.
Reconocemos a sus descendientes que viven en el mundo de hoy.
We thank the caretakers of this land who have lived here and continue to live here since time immemorial.
Agradezcamos a los guardianes de la tierra, quienes han vivido aquí y continúan viviendo aquí, desde tiempos inmemoriales.
An acknowledgement is a simple, powerful way to show respect. Un reconocimiento es una manera simple y poderosa de mostrar respeto.
And a step toward correcting the stories and practices that erase indigenous peoples' history and culture.
Y un paso hacia la corrección de las historias y prácticas que borran la historia y la cultura de los pueblos indígenas.
It also honors the truth.
También honra la verdad.
As a school district, we will continue to build upon our relations with the Yakima Nation.
Como distrito escolar, continuaremos fortaleciendo nuestras relaciones con la nación Yakima.
Thank you, Barb. In our board docs tonight is an obituary for Chandra Roxanne Saiz, and I want to call all of our board members' attention to that. It is our practice when we lose a member of our Yakima School District family to take a moment of silence in their memory. So I would ask you all to please join me for a moment of silence for Chandra. Thank you. We have a couple of recognitions this evening. Actually, I should say a few. We're going to start with our fall recognition program. And I believe that would be Norm for Eisenhower, yes. Thank you, Director Walker, please.
We definitely have more than a few. We had a lot of athletes to recognize this evening. If you're here when I call your name, please come up and circle around through, and we'd like to shake your hand. Do we have certificates for them this evening too, as well? No certificates, okay. So just circle through and we'll shake your hand. I'd like to recognize you. And I think we'll wait till the end. We have a long, long list. So at the end, we'll take a break. And if you want to take a picture in front of the backdrop, I guess is the word I was trying to think of. If you want to take a picture in front of the backdrop, you're welcome to do that. Okay, so we'll start with, we had 4 students from Eisenhower that placed in the state championships. And the Board of Directors congratulates the following student athletes for their outstanding contributions during the winter sports season. We recognize their remarkable achievement, actually I should say fall sports season, I believe. We recognize their remarkable achievement of placing 8th or better at state. Your dedication, hard work, and sportsmanship exemplify both your talent and your unwavering dedication. We have 1 state champion in swimming, Adelaide Loser, senior from Eisenhower, first place in the 100 butterfly.
Great job.
Next up, we have Kian Compton, Jr., placed 4th in cross country.
Great job. I'm thinking we should stay standing.
Yanuel Argelio Alcala, 10th grade, placed 2nd at co-ed unified cross country. Ninth grader Dezaylin McKinney also placed 2nd in co-ed unified cross country. Next up, we have several Eisenhower students and coaches that received Columbia Basin Big 9 All-League Conference honors. The Board of Directors proudly acknowledges the exceptional achievements of athletes and coaches in the Columbia Basin Big 9. These athletes and coaches are the top-ranked athletes and coaches in the conference. We commend them for their commitment to excellence and their positive representation of our schools and community. We have 2 coaches of the year, Robert Price, co-coach for boys cross country.
Thank you.
And Andrea Redmond, Coach of the Year for swimming and diving for girls.
Congratulations.
Big 9 Runner of the Year in cross country is Kian Compton. You'll get some more steps in today.
Congratulations again.
Yeah, might as well. In girls soccer, Big 9 Offensive Player of the Year, Vianney Esquivel. And Swimmer of the Year, Big 9 Swimming and Diving, Adelaide Loser. We had several athletes attain first team all-conference. Kian Compton, cross country. Vianney Esquivel, girls soccer. Sophie Hopkins, cross country. Is Sophie here? And Nemaya Villanueva, cross country. Also, Big Nine All-Conference First Team, Casey Smith Apperson, cross country. Maria Ketchum, girls soccer.
Good job.
Emily Badillo, girls soccer. Angelina Barrera, softball slow pitch. Olivia Colbert, volleyball, pin hitter. And Adelaide Loser, swimming and diving, 200 IM, that's for intermediate medley, I believe, and 100 butterfly.
Maybe you should just stay up here.
That's individual medley. Second team all-conference in cross country, Karis Cuevas. Wolfgang Nelson, cross country.
Great job.
Antonio Castillo, football, defense, and the all-sportsmanship team. Allison Villarreal Hernandez, girls soccer. Hadley Hanchett, girls soccer. Ayana Ochoa, girls soccer. Catalina Armijo, volleyball, pin hitter. Cheyenne Phillips, volleyball, setter. Cheyenne comes by it naturally. I coached her mother in volleyball at Eisenhower many years ago. Kara Loser, swimming and diving, 200 medley relay, 200 IM, 200 free relay, and 100 backstroke. Also from the swimming and diving team, Carmela Napolano, 200 medley relay and 400 free relay. Sofia Barboletos, swimming and diving, 200 medley relay, 200 free relay, 400 free relay. Adelaide Loser, swimming and diving, 200 medley relay. Reed Loser, swimming and diving. She did the 100 butterfly, the 200 free relay, the 400 free relay. And last in the swimming team, Rochelle Garza, 400 free relay. We're not yet done yet. We also have honorable mention, all conference. In cross country, we have Jason Reyes. In football, we have Tyquarius Brown. From girls soccer, we have Laurel Downs. Congratulations. Also from girls soccer, Miley Ramirez Maliat. From the volleyball team, we have Braylon Skinner. And again, from swimming and diving in 200 freestyle, we have Reed Loser. Congratulations. The Loser family could field their own medley relay team. In ambulatory cross country, we have Melissa Mendoza. Also from ambulatory cross country, we have Jolette Ibanez Sanchez. Finally, all from Eisenhower, we have the sportsmanship teams. From cross country, Frank Garcia. Congratulations. Lucy Park from cross country. Allison Villarreal Hernandez, soccer. From slow pitch softball, Haley Littler. From girls swimming and diving, Alexia Limon Barajas. And last but not least, from volleyball, Grace Hernandez. Congratulations to all the Eisenhower athletes and coaches. That's a huge list.
Move on to Davis. Fall sports, AC Davis High School, Columbia Basin Big Nine All-League Conference honors. The Board of Directors proudly acknowledges the exceptional achievements of athletes in the Columbia Basin Big Nine All-Conference. These athletes are the top-ranked athletes in the Big Nine Conference. We commend these athletes for their commitment to excellence and their positive representation of our schools and our community. The first team All-Conference, Italia Vasquez Santos, cross country.
Great job.
Next, we have Joshua Whitney, cross country, also named All Sportsmanship Team. DeAnthony Wiggins, football, wide receiver first team, defensive back second team. Isabel Rosas, slow pitch, pitcher, infielder. Now we move on to the second team all-conference. Andy Cortez, cross country. Patricia Delgado, soccer, midfield. Paige Gasling, volleyball, middle hitter. Jocelyn Standley, volleyball, pin hitter. Cheyenne Hull, volleyball, pin hitter. Isa Garcia, volleyball, setter. Now our honorable mention all-conference, Nicholas Copeland, cross country. Aiden Tekomawa, I apologize if I got that wrong, football, defensive back. Leonardo Lopez, honorable mention, all sportsmanship team. Franco Ramos Aparicio Jr., football, linebacker. Noah Newkirk, football, quarterback. Tevin Rory, football, wide receiver. Jillian Sanchez, soccer, defender. Jalen Calixto Garcia, soccer, goalkeeper. Mia Pena, soccer, midfielder. Brisa Garfias, volleyball, libero. And our all sportsmanship team, Nina Landeros, cross country.
Congratulations.
Nia Camargo, slow pitch. Aaliyah Garcia, soccer. America Villegas, swim. And Cynthia Benitez, volleyball. That's it for my list.
Now we move on to Fall NECA IBEW Award winners. The Big Nine announces the Fall NECA IBEW Award winners. The National Electrical Contractors Association and the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers are proud to present the 22nd annual recognition of these fine scholar athletes from 4 Big Nine schools. These two organizations are training electricians for the future. NECA and IBEW encourage all high school students to explore with their high school counselors a career in the electrical construction industry, which provides salary levels that are above average and careers that will last a lifetime. The following Yakima School District students were recognized for demonstrating superior balance in academics, athletics, and community improvement. America Murillo Villegas, swim, Davis High School. Noah Newkirk, football, Davis High School. Adelaide Loser, swim and dive, Eisenhower High School. I promise we won't make you come up again. And Brent Johnson, cross country, Eisenhower High School.
I want to say thank you to my colleagues for the list of names. I know that's a long list for everybody, but I really appreciate that. And I also would like to ask maybe one more round of applause for all of our students who do so well in our community. We have one more recognition, and then we'll take a break so that people can do photos. But is Mr. Beck here? Oh, good. Brian, would you please come up so I can embarrass you for a few minutes? Tonight, we have the distinct honor of recognizing Mr. Brian Beck, music teacher at Davis High School, who has been named Washington Music Educators Association Music Educator of the Year. This award is one of the highest honors in music education in our state. The WMEA Music Educator of the Year Award is a public recognition that celebrates individuals who exemplify excellence in teaching and extraordinary service to their profession. These educators are not only making a powerful impact in their own classrooms and schools, but they are shaping music education across the region and beyond. Washington State is divided into 22 WMEA regions. Each honoree represents the very best of their region. This year's recognition is especially meaningful as the WMEA Awards Committee received a record number of nominations from across the state, making this distinction all the more competitive and therefore a prestigious recognition. Mr. Beck stands out among that exceptional field. His work reflects not only technical excellence and instructional skill, but a deep commitment to students, to the art of music, and to the broader profession of music education. His influence extends well beyond his classroom, uplifting colleagues, inspiring students, and strengthening the cultural and artistic fabric of our schools and community. On behalf of the Yakima School District, this Board of Directors, and the community we serve, we offer our sincere congratulations and gratitude. Mr. Beck, we are incredibly proud of you. Thank you for your passion, your leadership, and for representing our district and your WMEA region with such distinction. I would ask you to please join me in congratulating Mr. Beck, Washington Music Educators Association Music Educator of the Year. We're going to take about a 7-minute recess to give everyone a chance to do some photos in front of the backdrop if they would like to. I encourage you to do that, and we will reconvene in about 7 minutes. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll come back to order and we'll move into our regular agenda. The first item of business this evening is our annual board reorganization. This falls under our policy, I believe it's 1210. And to begin with the board organization, we call for nominations for president of the Yakima School Board for the next year. Does anyone wish to make a nomination?
Mr. President, I nominate Norm Walker.
Norm has been nominated. Is there a second?
I will second.
Thank you, Director Shelton. It's been moved and it has been seconded. Are there any other nominations for president of the board for next year? I know, right? The poor director who's not present is subject to a lot of torment right now. Hearing no other nominations will be closed. It's been moved and seconded that Norm Walker would serve as president of the Yakima School Board in 2026. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none and without objection, we'll move to a roll call vote. Barb, would you please call the roll for us?
Director Shelton? Director Rice?
Aye.
Does Director Walker vote?
Yes, he does.
Director Walker?
Aye.
And President Beckett?
Happily, aye.
It passes 4-0.
Thank you, Barb. Congratulations, Norm.
Thank you.
At this point in time in the organizational meeting, it is my honor to hand the gavel back to my predecessor and President Walker. Thank you, Norm. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's an honor to serve again. And thank you again for your service. So very, very well done. Yes. At this time, we'd like to open the office of Board Vice President. Nominations are open.
I nominate Ryan Beckett.
Is there a second?
I will second.
Are there any other nominations for Board Vice President? Okay, hearing none. Would you call the roll, Barb, for electing Director Beckett as Board Vice President?
Director Shelton? Aye. Director Walker?
Aye.
Director Rice?
Aye.
Director Beckett?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Next up, we have the Office of WIAA Representative. I'm currently serving in that role. I can continue in that role, or we can open it up again, or...
It's not one that we have to vote on, I don't think.
Oh, okay.
This is one that you can volunteer for.
Yeah. Well, I will volunteer to continue in that role unless there's anyone that would like to serve in that role at this time. It doesn't require a lot of time or... Okay, I'll just continue to serve in that role as well. Last up, we have nomination for the office of Legislative Representative.
Mr. President, I nominate Martha Rice to continue as our legislative representative.
Do I hear a second?
I will second.
It's been moved and seconded to appoint or elect Martha Rice as legislative representative. Would you call do I hear any discussion or objection? Would you call the roll, please?
Director Shelton?
Aye.
Director Walker?
Aye.
Director Rice?
Aye.
Director Beckett?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Congratulations. We're honored to have you serve as our legislative rep. Your years of experience will keep us well informed. Okay, moving on. We have 2 reports to the board this evening. We have Global End Statement 1000.1.0, goal number 3, and I believe Jamie Lee will be giving that report this evening.
All right, good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to share on the ends report for Goal 3 tonight. Of our 5 strategic plan goals, Goal 3 reads that it is the equitable opportunity to achieve core mastery. Tonight, I want to begin with some data that we're all very familiar with, and that is our summative end-of-year Smarter Balanced Assessment data. This data comes from our OSPI report card. So as you can see, in the 24-25 school year for English Language Arts, 4th graders performed at 29%, performing at a level 3 or 4, 7th grade 30%, and 10th grade 42%. In mathematics, 4th graders scored at 25% at a level 3 or 4, 7th graders at 16%, and 10th graders at 13%. And for the science assessment, 5th graders scored at a 32%, 8th graders at a 23%, and 11th graders at 35%. In tonight's presentation, I will share a new approach that we are taking to look at data throughout the year. Global End Statement, or Goal 3, specifically reads that all students will be empowered to own their education, meet or exceed standards, be critical and creative thinkers, seek solutions, and be advocates for racial and social justice. In the goal statement, I would like to focus your attention on the line that says meet or exceed standards. We have heard before that YSD remains stagnant in the Smarter Balance assessment data. What I want to focus on this evening is how we are looking at data differently. The making progress determination that you see on the slide before you is based on the actions that we have taken in response to the Smarter Balanced assessment data. You will see 2 data representations on the slide before you. If we look at SBA results alone, the progress can appear limited because it is a single snapshot in time. This year, through our PLC process, we've been able to do something differently, something that YSD has not done before. We are looking at data by student, by standard. So what's before you is the Smarter Balanced Assessment data from last year's 7th graders. Next to that grid is a pie chart that shows those same students as 8th graders this year. And the data presented up there is specific to one standard, and that is the 8th grade standard EE.7 or .C.7, which is solve linear equations in one variable. However, that one statement is extremely deep when you dig into what the standard says. So what we have done is designed common end of unit math assessments for every single grade level, kindergarten through 8th grade, by each of our guaranteed standards. So for 8th graders, they took this end of module assessment. We collected the data by classroom, by building, and then this representation is every single YSD student. You can see that 35% of 8th graders met this standard. What this gives us the opportunity to do is look at the students who have not met standard yet, and in real time, provide an intervention and ongoing progress monitoring. So we can see that 50% of our students still need time to develop their understanding of this standard. And now we have the data to allow our teams to do just that. Across our schools, we've strengthened a coherent instructional cycle so that teachers and teams have actionable data grounded in the PLC process. They can regularly analyze student learning through the use of the common end of unit assessments and identify their specific instructional responses. This gives principals and teachers time to co-develop action plans based on evidence that ensures timely support for our students. Not only can we look at students that are going to then take the summative assessment, but this gives us data to look at students who we don't normally collect summative data on. For example, our 2nd graders. Not every assessment at the end of the unit has just one specific standard on it like you saw for 8th grade. So this example is for 2nd graders, and their common end of unit assessment for this unit had 3 standards that were assessed. Those standards are referred to as NBT1, NBT3, and NBT4, all around understanding numbers in the base 10 system. So looking at this data district-wide, we can see that our 2nd graders did very well on NBT1 and NBT4. Then this data allows us to drill down and really focus on the fact that our students need more time in NBT3, which may be coming up in another module, or it may all be something that we need to provide some targeted support on. Maintaining this momentum of looking by standard by student gives us the opportunity to provide that support, thus creating a system where we're not surprised by our end of the year data because we have provided the intervention along the way, giving us the opportunity to target that intervention and consistently follow through so that the gaps shrink and narrow by the time we get to that summative assessment. There are some highlights that I'd like to present to you through this, this new opportunity that we've developed, and that is that our primary data, when we look at the data that we're collecting, we are seeing increased proficiency in the specific guaranteed standards, and this is giving us the opportunity to sustain and elevate that performance through progress monitoring prior to that end of year summative assessment data. So if you think back to the slide that I presented where our 7th graders are now 8th graders, we have the opportunity to do something prior to that summative assessment data so we can respond more quickly. This has also given us the opportunity to look at district-wide data. So there is a spreadsheet where every school is represented by grade level, and we can leverage that data to inform principal and teacher actions and strengthen accountability and drive those improvements. I wanted to give one example today that a principal had shared with me yesterday as she was looking at one of her grade level team's data, and they happened to be the lowest performing school just specific to that standard. And she, even prior to meeting with her team, was already developing an action plan in her head because to her, she wanted to know what the other schools were doing in order to achieve a 70% rate at benchmark or an 80%. And that is really the goal of the data, is that our buildings are seeing where the successes are, and then they're tapping into each other to learn what instructional strategies or supplemental resources they're using. So that shared accountability is really a celebration, because our principals are now asking what's happening with those that are having success. And then I also have the opportunity to be the lead on Goal 3. And through the stakeholders that are present on that committee, they are asking questions on how we expand the community commitments within Goal 3 beyond the state assessments, so that we can focus on the progress over time and the growth that students are experiencing. Additionally, we have a couple of opportunities before us, and that is to look at the trend data that we have in Yakima School District has seen the same trends that we've seen statewide and within our ESD 105 and across our county, where after COVID, scores dropped and really have maintained. There hasn't been much movement either way. The opportunity for Yakima School District lies in that's not okay. We don't want to maintain that trend, and through this new way of looking at data, we will be able to move students by standard and get out of the trends that we're seeing across our county. Another opportunity is to continue to develop the end-of-unit math assessments through high school, and our goal is to have full implementation for those common end-of-unit assessments in algebra, geometry, algebra 2 for second semester. Additionally, in the spring and summer, we will begin this work for our literacy assessments. Well, that concludes my presentation. Any questions?
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from the board?
I just wanted to thank you, Jamie, for your team's efforts in making sure that we are able to review the growth and celebrate the accomplishments of every student for every standard. I think that's really important, to be able to recognize the individuals that our students are and target them where they need to be targeted and celebrate them where they need to be celebrated. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Dr. Lucero with the annual SIP report, which is, SIP is School Improvement Plans, for those of you in the audience that are tired of acronyms.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to present on our school improvement plans. Typically, on this evening, we also ask the board for approval of our school improvement plans, and you did approve those last month. Thank you. I do want to start by thanking our school leaders, our principals and assistant principals, and their instructional leadership teams, as they are the engine that drives their school improvement efforts. And it truly is not an easy task. As I'll explain this evening, the school improvement plan is a living and breathing document. So as Jamie mentioned, the ongoing analysis of data, she highlighted math. We do that across content areas and responding to not only individual students, but also to subgroups of students who have historically performed at lower levels than other students. And so on this first slide, really honing in on the essential elements of continuous school improvement. At the very top, you see there that our efforts always start with strengthening Tier 1 instruction. As we do that and analyze data, then we also take a look at additional supports that we might offer during Tier 2 or Tier 3 instruction, and that is highlighted there with the implementation within a multi-tiered system of supports. Specifically, our instructional leadership teams identify specific strategies and interventions that they are going to implement to ensure that students are growing. District-wide, professional learning communities has been very impactful in the growth that we are seeing with our students, specifically with the time devoted on Mondays answering the 4 PLC questions, and on Wednesdays with teams engaging in the creation of PLC products. Briefly here, just a reminder that this year is a year of support, meaning that our schools that have been identified on the Washington School Improvement Framework for needing to grow, in particular areas. They're continuing that work that occurs on a 3-year cycle. Our next year for identification is the 27-28 school year. And then just an overview of the different tiered supports. You'll learn here in a couple of slides that we do have several schools who have been identified as needing they're at the foundational eligible support, meaning they're not identified for tiered supports. And then the other areas down from tier 1, needing tier 1 supports to tier 3+ supports. So here you see the schools that have been identified, as well as their, you'll see in bold, McKinley Elementary is a tier 3+, and you'll see on the next slide for secondary also a few schools in bold as our educational funding continues to experience challenges. The funding that we receive also decreases. So currently, only our schools identified as tier 3+ accountability and supports are eligible for state funding. And our district continues to not receive district-wide funds. So these are our elementary schools here. Our secondary schools, so the 3 bolded at the bottom, are eligible for funding. We actually received notification today that our application has been approved. So again, thank you to our principals for meeting all of the requirements that have allowed us to receive that additional funding, which for our district totals $310,000. And certainly very proud of the efforts of all of our schools, including our foundational schools, who they're not off the hook. Like everybody else, they, in the business that we're in, with humans that we are working with and the needs that vary year to year, the continuous improvement efforts also are essential in our foundational skills to ensure that they maintain the status of foundational. And just a summary here of our school improvement goals by focus. You can see the number of schools that have different goal areas. On the second column there at the bottom, I've noted there that our primary academic focus areas are literacy and math. And then our primary non-academic focus areas are attendance and social emotional learning. And you do have access to a summary of all of our district school improvement plan goals. And last month, you received links to all of the full school improvement plans for each of our schools. And in total, we have 83 goals that our schools are working towards meeting by the end of the school year. What questions might I answer for you?
Are there any questions or comments from the board?
I don't necessarily have any questions, but I'm going to tell you this is a monumental effort in data gathering. Thank you for sharing all of this with us, and to the schools for putting together those school improvement plans. Those things are beastly.
They are.
And it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of brain power, it takes a lot of effort to put together those school improvement plans that are, 30-some pages long?
They can be, yes.
It's just amazing. So thank you for sharing all of that with us.
Thank you.
May I?
Yes.
Dr. Lucero, just two points that are, I think, so interesting to me are always attendance and family engagement. And the improvement plans, get into that on a little tiny bit. I guess my biggest question is always, what does family engagement really look like building by building? What's, in general terms, we've heard from some of our principals as we've done site visits, some of the outreach they do, but in general, from a district perspective, what does family engagement really look like?
I think that from a district perspective, family engagement really looks like connecting with our families in the way that makes sense for them. So oftentimes we think about family engagement in a traditional sense, such as an open house or a math family night or a STEAM night. And I'm not saying that those aren't important, because they certainly are. But I would say that what's equally as important is being out in the morning, which we see our leaders doing, calling families when there's a concern, whether it's academic or non-academic, and really just establishing those ongoing relationships and maintaining two-way communication with our families to ensure that they really are fully informed about who their child is as a student and beyond, is how I would summarize from a district perspective.
Thank you. I feel like there's just a lot more that goes on that maybe we aren't aware of at this table. Because like I say, when we're in those buildings, we hear snippets, and it is impressive to me. I just, I want to wrap my head around that a little bit better about what, what we could do to support that even better.
Thank you.
But thank you. Yeah.
Yes.
Any other comments or questions? Okay. Thank you so much. I'd like to make one comment. When we talked about, sometimes people question the need for or investing in things like social emotional learning and PBIS, but when you look at the data with our discipline report, which is at the bottom of your board documents, there's some really nice trends happening with discipline in terms of reduced number of incidents of discipline. And so I think that speaks to climate in the schools and to the efforts around positive behavior and around social emotional learning. So I hope we keep paying attention to those, even though funding for those things is not popular right now so as much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, do we have updates from members of the board?
Last week, we met as an ESD. It was organized at the ESD level with a number of our legislators, our local legislators, and had an opportunity to introduce ourselves to some new ones that we haven't interacted with yet, and also to connect with some of those that have been around with us a little bit more, as well as hear from them what their focus will be for this next legislative session, which starts in like a month or less. And it's a short session, so 60 days from start to finish, hopefully. And they're going to have to hit the ground running, because there are a lot of needs, not just in education, but across the whole spectrum of state funding. And everybody's going to be there with their hand out saying, we need this for that, and we need that for this. And education, even though it's the primary responsibility of the state, quite often doesn't end up as the primary responsibility of the state for funding support. So there will be opportunities for school directors to call in to committee meetings and testify. You can testify over Zoom, which if the winter ends up being like the winter is starting out as, might be a much preferred option as opposed to driving for 3+ hours and for a less than 5-minute presentation to the legislature. So once session starts, I will have more comprehensive updates than what we have now, and we'll let you know when our voice is needed, and working with Superintendent Green in his work with the legislators.
Thank you. Any other updates from board?
Not necessarily an update. I just have to brag a little bit. The Davis High School show choir performed at a community service club holiday party just last week. And this cadet was very proud to watch the Pirates perform as well as they did. So if anyone sees or knows Shannon and can tell her congratulations, that club was still talking about that performance a week later as of today. And it was just so cool to stand in the back of the room and watch those kids perform so professionally. It was very, very well done. So I enjoyed that very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Any others? Okay, Dr. Green, Superintendent's update.
Yes, thank you. I will pass the time over just briefly to our attorney here, Bob No, to talk about PRRs. And while I'm doing that, that would be public record requests. I'll have Kirsten Fitter come to the podium as she'll do some follow-up on the school improvement plans. Bob?
Thank you. You'll find in your agenda packet the monthly update on the public records processing. You'll see that last year we processed a total of 135 records requests. This year, year to date, we've already have 185, which is quite a bit more than last year. But you'll also see that despite the increased volume, we're still processing a vast majority of the requests within 10 working days. So we're still able to maintain a good pace at getting these things processed and getting records to people that need those as quickly as possible. If you have any questions, let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Kirsten?
Thank you, Dr. Green. I wanted to follow up on Maria's presentation on the SIP plans because it is important for compliance that we do post those to the website. They are very large documents, and I wanted to pay respect to our language access professionals who have now translated all of them, some of them being 60 pages in length. And they are in the queue to be posted to the website. They will be on all of the school's website in a new page under the information tab called School Improvement Plan. So I invite our community to be able to access that information there, and that will be posted no later than this Friday.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to share with the board an update on our strategic plan. As you're well aware, we have set aside 1 month for each of the 4 goals to be an update month for each of the 4 groups. And this month, it falls on goal team number 2 of the strategic plan refresh, and that is Omar Santoy, Aaron Thomas, and Kirsten Fitter. Please, time is yours.
There you go. All right, good evening, President Walker, members of the board, Superintendent Green Cabinet. My name is Omar Santoy. I serve as the Executive Director of Student Services here with the district. Presenting with me tonight are Kirsten Fitterer, our Executive Director of Communications and Engagement, and Aaron Thomas, Director of Student Services. The 3 of us are serving as assigned leads for goal number 2 in the strategic plan refresh process. This evening, we put together a brief update for you just on our team's work and the progress that we've made to date. So I want to start with just our team composition and how our team is engaging in this process. And so I want to begin by highlighting who is actually doing the work. And so this slide shows the members of the Goal 2 team. Participation has been strong both in person through meeting attendance and or electronically through our Canvas course, surveys, and or there's been a lot of email communication feedback and input sent through email communication. Our team reflects a broad cross-section of our school community. It includes parents, certificated and classified staff. We have union representation on our team, building administrators, district administrators, a representative from our faith community is serving alongside us. We also have strong participation from community partners, most of those being community service agencies, including Neighborhood Health, Department of Children, Youth, and Families, the Yakima Sports Commission, Camp Hope, and the Salvation Army. One aspect that we've been especially value is school board representation. Director Rice has been deeply committed to this work and working alongside us. And it's been really amazing to just hear her perspective as we engage in these conversations, but also for her to listen to the perspectives of others in our group and voices from our community. And then most importantly, we have student voice represented. Our students that have been participating have been primarily around middle school age and high school age. And they've engaged again in person and or online or electronically through the various methods, Canvas, surveys, and whatnot. And more recently, we have engaged with the Yakima School District Student Senate. And so we're really proud of that group. And I'm going to invite Kirsten Fitterer to share a little bit about our Student Senate.
We are intentionally bringing student voice into Goal 2. Our Student Senate is helping us do that in a concrete way. Last week, student senators took a short survey focused on Goal 2 so we can better understand what helps students feel connected, supported, and empowered at school and what barriers still exist. We will use their feedback to strengthen the language of the goal and to sharpen the success measures so they reflect real student experience, not just adult assumptions. For context, Goal 2 in our strategic plan is students, families, and staff feeling empowered, connected, supported, and engaged. And as our committee has found out, in plain language, Goal 2 is about belonging, trust, and two-way connection. When this goal is strong, students know at least one adult has their back. Families can access information and support without friction, and staff feel informed and equipped to serve students well.
Now that we're familiar with the goal that we are refreshing, goal number 2, I want to briefly just take a moment and just speak to the measures for success and how we are measuring progress toward this goal. Currently, we have our 2026 community commitments, and those commitments read at least 19 out of every 20 students, or 95%, will attend school at least 171 days out of 100 days per school year. That is our first commitment. The second measurement that we will be refreshing is at least 19 out of every 20 students, or 95%, would agree or strongly agree to the survey questions. I feel safe at school, and I feel connected to other students and adults at school. As a part of this process, both of these community commitments will be updated alongside of the goal and in alignment with the goal. And the priorities that our team identify will be made present in that goal revision. So with that context, I would like to just turn over some time over to Aaron Thomas, who's going to walk with walk us through the process that we are following for the revision.
Yes, the best part is the process part, so I'm excited about sharing this with you. First of all, just want to share, the process that we're using is not something that we created on our own. We can't take any credit for it. It's actually the improvement science process, or you will have heard like the continuous improvement process. And that is the same process that our buildings use to create their school improvement plans. So it's all aligned. So the first step is the analysis of the district strategic plan. So it's really important that we know the whole of the plan before we start breaking it down into parts. And so we look at that whole plan, how it's organized, and then what role does our goal play in that bigger plan. The second step is a close review of the goal itself. So during this review, we do a process similar to what a teacher does when they're taking a learning standard and breaking it down into learning targets. We take the goal and we analyze the goal, and then we break it down into its components based on what the goal is asking. And so we call that deconstruction. And so if we look at goal 2, we would find 4 major components that we are asking under that one goal. So it's kind of like 4 separate goals all wrapped up in one. And so we take that, those components, and then we conduct a needs assessment. And with each component, we are looking at multiple sets of data, trying to figure out where we are at, what is our current reality. And based on that analysis, we can figure out what our priority is, and then we will be able to move on to the next step. We're nearly done with the needs assessment. We're very close. But the 4th step is root cause. So during a root cause analysis, this is where we dig deeper to understand why gaps exist. So if we look at a component, let's say that the component asks for all students or 100% of students to meet this goal. If 100% of students are expected to meet the goal, and our data shows that 60% are currently meeting the goal, then that means that we have a gap of 40%. And so the root cause analysis enables us to figure out why is there a gap. And then when we have the 4 different components, 1 or 2 may stand out as a higher or greater need. And so that's what the analysis that we are completing right now is. We're trying to figure out what are the priorities, why is this happening? And then once we figure out why, then we can go to our theory of action. And the theory of action is where you're looking at the needs and you're trying to figure out why are we having this problem? What is causing that great gap? And you try to come up with a solution. And with that information, plus we would be also looking at like the indicators and the professional practices and the community commitments. We'd be looking at all those things. And when we answer those questions as to why and what we think is going to work to solve it, then we are ready to refresh the goal, to update the goal, not a full rewrite, but based on our data analysis, we will be updating the goal. And the final part is our updated goal then becomes part of the updated strategic plan, and then our schools use that goal to align their improvement efforts again, so we begin the process all over, and they're doing the same thing that we're doing on their school improvement plan that we're doing with this goal process. So those are the 6 steps that we are utilizing. And then again, we are right about at step 4 in our process. So that is our process. Do you have any questions for me or for any of us?
And when is what's the timeline for completing this entire process?
We hope to be done in February. We will be done in February.
All right, thank you so much. Really appreciate the 3 coming up here. It just speaks very highly of the efforts that are being made. This is one of 4 teams And we're excited to just have that update, and just would call out as well that every update is different because they're at a different place in time over the 4 months. And yes, all 4 of the goals should be updated by February and presented to the board. Other items that I'd like to share with you today, just very briefly, it was mentioned the Student Senate, so I thank Kirsten Fitter for mentioning that. So we did have a Student Senate session. We have 12 fellows this year, student fellows. We're looking very forward to engaging with them, and we have about the same number working on other components. Part of the process of engagement with respect to our students is a co-design model. So not only do they identify the issues that are impacting them in as constituents and people that we serve within our system, but they're also then designing and leading the resolution of those problems. So we're grateful for their contributions, and we look forward to the continued development of the Student Senate as we evolve more fully in our student voice approach. Also, to just share with you, our faith-based partnership continues to grow. We heard Omar mention that we have a faith-based partner as part of their group. I was able to attend First Presbyterian with Doug Kaplicki, Principal Kaplicki at Adams, and speak to 2 congregations about the contributions that they were making to the Adams community as far as gifting and raising funds to support students that were having challenges. And we're just very grateful for the continued support that we received from all of our faith-based partners. And it was just so happened that it was focused recently on First Pres and the work that they're doing around Adams. By way of kind of folding in the mention of attendance that Omar also mentioned, I've reached out to OSPI. As you may recall, the numbers that we have on our attendance document for the ends goal gives us 2 readings. We have the skyward reading that we share with you, but we also have the OSPI measurement, which is much more convoluted and difficult to understand. So we do have an appointment set up, Aaron Thomas. We will be engaging with OSPI, and credit to them as they are willing to have conversations around what we can do to more effectively measure what attendance actually looks like. So we're hopeful, and we'll put in the work to see if we can make an adjustment there. Yesterday, I was able to travel to the University of Washington and do some preparatory work with David Knight, Dr. Knight, in moving the coalition of superintendents primarily from the West Side, but statewide, towards a framework that would be implemented within the next 5 years. Proud of the work that we're putting forward. We have a session scheduled in March and another one at the end of June 30th and July 1st after the WASDA-WASA conference. So that continues to grow and is gaining momentum as we see more not more faith-based, but more community-based organizations or philanthropic foundations take interest in that. So there's that component. And then the last item that I would share with you around the legislative moves is just today, actually, I was in contact with our 2 districts, the largest districts in the state, in Seattle and Lake Washington. I was on a session this morning with about 20 superintendents to address the construction needs that are happening as led by the Lake Washington superintendent, which is really interesting because Lake Washington is one of 2 school districts in our state out of the 295 districts that do not run a bond. And the reason that they do not run a bond is that they are so large and have such a huge tax base that they do not have to reach the 60% threshold to build buildings. They can pass a levy and 50% and gather enough income to impact the construction that they have in place. So it was really surprising to have Lake Washington involved in that. So I think it speaks to the problems that we don't know that happen in districts that have even easier metrics to meet that aren't the high bar of a supermajority. As far as the Seattle superintendent, he is not yet in his new position. I believe he takes his position March 1st, but he has reached out from Michigan to find out more about the coalition of superintendents, and I think having him on board would speak volumes as well, because Seattle is certainly a different animal when you're talking about the legislative impact that they have in the state, and we'll see if he's able to navigate that and be a part of that group, but it would be very beneficial. Lastly, just in mentioning the bond that we're going forward with in April. I've been able to present at I think it's been about 4 schools right now. I'm scheduled out to give factual information regarding the bond and what that would mean to our community. Just to put things into perspective, Mount Rainier High School in Seattle has under 1,000 students, and their high school project is a $297 million project for that one school. So we're talking about a $200 million project for the Yakima School District, which would be 2 elementaries and also ADA compliant playgrounds and everything else that we have shared previously. But maybe the most glaring indicator that I'd just briefly like to share with the board is the discrepancy of what we see in state and local funding statewide. So if we were to take, I'll just pick one of these, Vancouver receives $2,267 more per student in state and local funding than the Yakima School District. If we had the same funding for our students that Vancouver has for their students, that would mean $35 million more per year for the Yakima School District. Spokane, it would be $45 million more per year. Issaquah, $102 million more per year. And if you look on the east side of the state, Kennewick, $4 million more than we have based on their student, state and local, and Pasco almost $13 million. So the discrepancy, certainly the state funding model with local and as well as state funding is not equal, nor is it equitable, and that's part of what we're addressing systemically with both the coalition of superintendents in our group, but various others as well. So thank you. That concludes my update, and I certainly answer any other questions or either here or offline.
Are there any questions for Dr. Green at this point? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Last item then, apart from that report, is just to share that today marks certain metrics here for us. 6.5 years ago, Anthony Marietta came on board, traveled from across the state, retired from his position there, serving in Teamster Local 763 as president, and came over here to change his career and make a difference on the management side. And we're grateful for his contributions. When he came on board, we had numerous contracts that were outdated. One, I believe, as many as 7 years. He's been able to work effectively with our 11 different bargaining units and associations, and we are up to date on all of our contracts, or except for the openers this year, and it has been consistently that way over the course of his last 6.5 years here. So he'll be sorely missed. It's not just about the negotiation process. It's about certainly the connections that he's made, the sincerity that he brings into the position, the stories that he tells, which we all love, and how he connects those to lessons learned in leadership, and certainly also the contributions not only in HR but in operations, serving in grounds custodial maintenance, capital projects, and now transportation, and I'm probably missing something. So I'd just like to call that out and give our gratitude to Anthony, and I'm sure that we will have him back maybe after his 3 or 4 month hiatus to properly celebrate him at the end of the year. So thank you.
Yay. Well, speaking for myself personally and for the board, we will miss Mr. Marietta deeply in this district. Okay, next step.
Mr. President, may I have a moment of personal privilege in regards to Mr. Marietta? I will never forget when I first joined the board, one of the first tours that we did to get acclimated and get acquainted. The way you spoke about how our community should care about our facilities and how our facilities should present themselves to the public and the taxpayers who own them really resonated with me. And as somebody who's lived here my entire life, gone through school here, I don't necessarily believe that we have embraced that pride until you helped articulate that to everyone that works in our district and everyone who owns the buildings in our district, the properties that we own. And I, as a taxpayer, admire that. As a real estate guy, I kind of dig that. And it was a wonderful introduction to the way you looked at your job. And I just want to say thank you very much for everything you've done for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up, we have highlights for community engagement. The calendars are in your board docs. It's primarily, I think there are a few concerts going on still, and mostly athletic events. Is there anything we need to highlight, Kirsten, or are we pretty well covered? Yes. Okay, financial update. We have Susan Fate is here in place of Jake Cooper. He was chasing kangaroos, I believe, or something.
That was going to be my opening line. He's down under. Not under the weather, physically down under. Members of the board, cabinet, I'm just here to present the November 2025 budget status financial update. This is the information you receive every month. So this is for the month of November. Oh, thanks, Barb. I have the clicker. So some item of interest is that our cash balance is in line with our projections. And then last month, Mr. Cooper talked about some adjustments we'll be making to enrollment counts that will make some of those counts go up a little bit. So we're still working on those to get those finalized and up to the state. This is the 5-year actual FTE. This is K-12 and ALE enrollment. ALE stands for Alternative Learning Experience. And so some of the things under our alternative learning are K Virtual, our Yakima Online, our Open Doors, and then we've got a really good parent partnership that Brenda has done a great job on this year. So our enrollment is under our projections, which we've already talked about since the beginning of the year, but it's at least consistent, and I'm not seeing any big dips at the moment. This is just looking at the actual FTE enrollment. It does not include the skill center. It's an average comparison, so it takes what we budgeted, and then it takes the average from September through November. And it's based basically, like I just said, projections versus actual. So we are down a little bit, but it's consistent. And we've talked about that in the past. So we did over-project enrollment a bit, but we're trying to pick that up with the K virtuals, the ALE, YB Tech. There's a lot of stuff that Bonnie Smith's doing with CTE that's helping out our numbers as well. This is our cash flow. So our cash flow right now is as projected, which is good. So we're just still in line with what our projections are. So we don't have any concerns there at this time. This is our general fund revenue budget versus actuals. On average, this is lower than budget, but however, on the next slide, we'll see that our expenditures are less than budget as well. So they are netting each other out to where we are actually under budget, even though we have a little less revenue coming in. And we should see that go up a little bit this month of December, as we had some grants that just got approved that we'll be able to claim September and October, November for. And then this is the overall expenditures. Like I said on the last slide, these are running less than projected. And then November was a little bit higher because that's when we do a lot of the VIVA payouts for the contracts. And there were some negotiated contracts, and then we also had retro pay for those in November. This is the trend for our MSOCs. So this is just your materials, your supplies, and your overhead costs. Does not include your payroll. It's running under budget right now. So material, supplies, and overhead costs are about 18% of our budget, and payroll runs about 82% of our budget, which is pretty standard in this industry. So we're pretty in line with those percentages. Do you guys have any questions for me? Tried to slow it down last time I did this.
Any questions or comments?
Susan, is Viva just paid out annually?
No, Viva's paid out every month, but per some of the negotiated agreements and what gets bargained, then that gets paid out in a lump sum.
Gotcha, okay, thank you.
Susan, for our viewing public, those that might not be aware of what the parent partnership is, that's operated through.
So the parent partnership is operated through the K virtual site. And so the parent partnership is where we have kids that are homeschooled. And so we get a portion of their FTE because they come in for math or science or music. So Brenda and her team have done a really great job about growing that this year and getting more of those kinds of folks on board so we can get some of our FTE back.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you, Susan. We have arrived at our first opportunity for comments from the public on agenda items only. Do we have any?
Not at this time.
Okay, we have no one signed up. We then we'll move to the consent agenda. And on the consent agenda this week, we have approval of minutes for November, notification of approval of the warrants for November, approval of personnel actions, approval of out-of-endorsement assignments for the 25-26 school year, budget status reports for November, and that's our consent agenda. Is there any request to remove anything or discuss anything from the consent agenda? Okay, do I hear a motion?
I move the board adopt the consent agenda as submitted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt the consent agenda. Any other discussion or question? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. The motion is passed. 4-0. We now have the second opportunity for comments from the public. Do we have any takers?
Yes, we do. Steve.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Steve McKenna.
Testing. My name's Steve McKenna. I'm a retired teacher, former YEA president, and also a taxpayer in the Yakima School District. And I'm concerned the district seems to have a problem handling large influxes of money. When the federal government gave the district over $86 million additional dollars during the COVID years, that was in addition to the usual federal, state, levy, and other funds. A year later, the district had the first and largest of 3 RIFs, even though the school levy had passed. These RIFs were due to, in my opinion, definitely poor planning, hiring excessive amounts of personnel on soft money, creating new programs with declining enrollment, and now the board wants the community to fund a large bond to build 2 elementary schools and meet some other district needs, which definitely we have the needs. But as a taxpayer, I would like to know why the voters should trust the district and the board to handle huge amounts of money from the bond the voters will need to approve. In 2020, when I retired, the district had very preliminary discussions about closing an elementary school. And I know that those discussions have continued in some cases. Enrollment is declining for the previous 5 years, and especially in the elementary grade levels. I know that the kindergarten numbers are lower than the senior graduating numbers, and so over time that'll make a huge difference. And by the time these new elementary schools are built, will the district still need all of the elementary buildings? And I don't know if that's been really discussed, because it would really be a shame that if they built 2 new buildings and closed some elementary buildings, in addition to those, we just spent a lot of money that could have been done, something much more financially viable could be done. So anyway, I'm just letting you know that. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Green, would you like to respond?
I think it's good to just take the opportunity to just call out some information for the public. So I appreciate Mr. McKenna coming from SELA to share that perspective. When taking what he asked, which is why should the public trust? And I think when you look at the top 25 districts, if Mr. McKenna were up here, I would ask him how many bonds we have run in the last 15 years. And the answer would be 0. And if you look at the top 25 districts in the state of Washington, the answer would be anywhere from 1 to 4, which sometimes equates to over $1 billion for different communities. So when you're looking at a community like Yakima, which has been so conservative about any type of request of the public and very sensitive towards taxes, it has basically forced the district to use funds that aren't available for capital projects or updates. And I do believe that Mr. McKenna should be well aware that over 20 years ago, a bond was out there for several elementaries. And so here we are 20 years later, and while we do have declining enrollment, it wouldn't be out of the question, it's certainly not in the plans of anyone to open a school and close one. But 20 years ago, we had 4 to 5 schools that needed to be replaced at the elementary level. And we're certainly not even looking at that possibility of closing, multiple schools or even one school at this point. So we could certainly deal with hypotheticals, and I understand how entertaining that is. But it's also important to base factually that the tax rate of what we have now, if we were to pass a bond as a community, would not even closely approach what we were paying as a community from 2015 to 2018, which was well over $4 per thousand. So this would put us at about $3.84 per thousand once the bond passes. So I'm happy to discuss that with him offline if he so chooses, but I do appreciate the opportunity to address some of the issues that he brought up here publicly. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have 3 items in policy governance. We have 3 policies that are up for review. They're in your board docs. There's board members' code of conduct, board committee principles, and board committee structure. I believe the board of conduct, the last time we reviewed it, we updated it at that point, the last time we looked at that policy. So,
Yeah, we have this on a quarterly review, I think.
yeah.
So I don't know if the board is interested in continuing the current review cycle or extending that so that it's maybe twice a year or even once a year.
Yeah.
That would be something to consider as we review that.
I should say at the, it was updated in 2020. Right. Okay, so if you read through and see anything that you would like to change or alter or improve in those policies, you can make those comments in the Survey Monkey. Will come out this week. The other 2 policies, the committee policy, we haven't, in my terms on the board, we've not used the committee process. We have neither formed a committee or felt the need to. So the policies are there just in case, but again, look through them, and if you see any changes, you can respond on the survey. I don't see the need to read those policies through tonight. Any other questions about those? Survey Monkey will come out tomorrow. Okay. Okay. Is there a need for executive session?
Yes, there is. 20 minutes, current or potential litigation with legal counsel.
Okay. We will, do I hear a motion to adjourn to executive
Mr. President, in
session?
accordance with RCW 42.30.110, I move that the Board of Directors moves into a 20-minute executive session for the purpose of current or potential litigation with counsel for approximately 20 minutes.
Do I hear a second? It's been moved and seconded to adjourn for executive session for 20 minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Thank you all for being here. Have a very happy holiday. Hug your family members and your friends, and we'll see you in January.